So hello everyone, I'm Kajal and we were discussing the nervous system chapter of the 10th class students, and in this video we are going to continue with that chapter. So let us begin with that chapter. In this video we will discuss about the brain as well as the spinal cord, and the next one autonomic nervous system. Somatic nervous system means we will discuss about the peripheral nervous system. So let's start. Here three primary regions of a brain are there. First is known as a forebrain, second one midbrain, and the third one is the hindbrain. Forebrain part is consist of the two subparts. First is the cerebrum part and the second one is known as a diencephalon. Cerebrum part we have discussed that this is known as the intelligence sheet because it is responsible for the intelligence of a person, because it consists of the cell bodies, nerve cells, and the groups are present there that are responsible to hold the nerve cells. Next one, diencephalon, is consist of the two subparts. First is known as the thalamus part and the second one is the hypothalamus part. Thalamus part is relays the pain and pressure impulse to the cerebrum part. So it is responsible for the relaying the pain and the pressure to the cerebrum part, and hypothalamus controls the temperature of the body as well as the pituitary gland. So two functions hypothalamus is performing. It is responsible to control the body temperature as well as the pituitary gland. Second one, we are going to discuss the next part of the brain, that is the midbrain. Midbrain is responsible to control the reflexes of the eye and the ear. Reflexes means whatever we are hearing we are responding to that, as well as whatever we are seeing we are responding to that. So that reflex actions we are performing due to the midbrain. Suppose that something is enter in your eye, immediately you will blink your eye as well as you will close your eyelid. You will close your eyes. Why it is happening? Due to the midbrain, because immediately actions you are showing due to the presence of midbrain. That is the function of midbrain. Next one is the hindbrain. Hindbrain consists of the three subparts: cerebellum part, pons, and the medulla oblongata. Cerebellum part is the smallest part and it is responsible to control the balance and posture of the body. Next one, pons. Pons is present in the center of the brain, means below the cerebellum part. It is present just below the cerebellum part. You have to keep in mind the locations of all parts of the brain as well as the other things too, because these are coming in the exam, location as well as the function. This is very important. So where the pons are present just below the cerebellum part as well as center of the brain. It is carrying the impulse from one hemisphere of the cerebellum to the other hemisphere and coordinates the muscular movements on the both side of the body. It is responsible to control the muscular movements as well as it is responsible for the coordination of the hand and motor organs like our arms. Where we are showing our gesture, there we are seeing like that way, that is controlled by our pons. Coordination between eye and the hand movements. Next, medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata controls the activities of the internal organs, means involuntary activities. Next, we are going to discuss about the spinal cord. Spinal cord is present on the back of our body. It is giving the strength to our body, as well as you can say that it is the base of our whole body. If somebody will get any problem in the spinal cord, the whole coordination as well as the whole work of their body is totally affected in that sense. Why so? Because the spinal cord, you can take it as a base of our whole body. Spinal cord extends from the medulla and of the brain and down almost the whole length of the backbone to end of the second lumbar vertebrae and lies with the neural canal of the vertebrae from here to up to last. Okay, and the internal structure of the spinal cord in a cross section. Here is the arrangement of the white and the gray matter is totally reversed as compared to the brain. In the brain, if we talk about the brain, the gray matter is present in the outside, but here the white matter is present in the outside and gray matter is present in the inside of the brain, inside of the spinal cord. So white matter is present in the outer region and gray matter is present in the inner region. Again the same, gray matter consists of the cell bodies and the white matter consists of the axons. So in this one, in the spinal cord, there is a small central canal in the center which runs the entire length and is continuous with the cavities of the brain. They are also containing the cavities of the brain, as well as it is consist of the the central canal. In the center, one canal is present, that is known as central canal. It also filled with the cerebrospinal fluid, and which is act as a shock proof. Now, what is the function of a cerebrospinal fluid? Cerebrospinal fluid protects our brain as well as our spinal cord from the external injuries, from the external shocks. It acts as a cushion for them, and whenever some shocks we are getting, our brain are getting, then it acts as a shock proof for that, as well as the mechanical shock proof. Next, the medium of the exchange of, here they are forming a medium for the exchange of the food materials, waste product and the respiratory gases with the neurons. So it is also responsible for the exchange of the gases as well as the food stuffs. So this is the function of the spinal cord. Hope you understood. Next one, the functions of the spinal cord. It reflexes below the neck part, conducts a sensory impulse from the skin and the muscle to the brain, and conducts a motor response from the brain, muscle of the trunk and the limbs. They are responsible to give the response to the other parts of the body, as well as to get the response from the means they are getting the input by the sensory nerves, as well as they are giving the output back to it with the help of motor neurons. Next one, we are going to discuss about the peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system consists of the two subparts. First is somatic nervous system, and the second one is autonomic nervous system. Peripheral nervous system, it is also known as PNS or peripheral nervous system. Autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system is known as the ANS, and it consists of the two subparts. First is sympathetic and the second one is parasympathetic. Sympathetic and parasympathetic. Parasympathetic. Next one, somatic nervous system is also consisting of the two type of nerves, cranial nerves and the spinal nerves. Cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Cranial nerves that are present in the brain part, okay, arising from the brain part, that are known as the cranial nerves. Spinal nerves from the spinal cord. We will discuss that. The cranial nerves emerge from the brain, and they are 12 pair. There are 12 pair of cranial nerves. How many pairs are present? 12 pairs. But how the division occur? Sensory like olfactory, means in the nose. Sensory nerves present in the nose. The name of that nerve is the olfactory. Optic are present in the eyes, as well as auditory are present in the ears for listening. Next, motor like nerves are one going to the eye muscle. Motor like from the brain, they are going to the eye muscles, and mixed nerves those are going to and come from the face and the tongue. So there are three divisions: sensory, motor and the mixed. Sensory, olfactory is present in the nose. Next, optic is present in the eye, and auditory is present in the ear. Motor nerves that are going to the eye muscles. Next one, mixed nerves are going and coming back from the face and the tongue part. Next one, so these are about the cranial nerves. So these are 12 pair in number, 12 pairs. Next one, spinal nerves. Spinal nerves are totally 31 pairs. 31 pairs. Listen that how they are dividing. First is 8 pairs are present in the neck region. Okay, 12 pairs are in the thorax region, 5 pairs are present in the lumbar region, 5 pairs of the sacral region, and 1 pair in the coccygeal region. So this is the division. From the neck it is arising and up to the vertebral canal it is entering. So by ending, so by that way they are dividing: 8 pair in the neck, 12 in the thorax, 5 in the lumbar, 5 in the sacral, and 1 pair in the coccygeal. So each spinal nerve is the mixed nerve having a both sensory and the motor fibers too. In the spinal nerve also these are present, and in the spinal nerves they are containing the mixed nerves, means they are containing both sensory as well as the motor fibers. At a junction of two roots, the sensory and the motor fibers separate out, and the sensory fibers continue in the dorsal root and the motor fibers into the ventral root. The sensory are separating and continuing to the dorsal root, and afterward the motor are to the ventral root. In the spinal cord it is they are combined, sensory and motor. Afterward they are separating, and how they are separating? After separation the sensory fibers are going to the dorsal root and motor fibers are going to the ventral root. Both roots enter to the grey matter of the spinal cord and end in the corresponding dorsal as well as the ventral projection of the horns of the grey matter. Okay, autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system consists of a pair of chains of the nerves and as well as the ganglia on either side of the backbone. So these are the pair of the nerves, pair of the chains of the nerves, and the ganglia on the either side of the backbone, they are present. This system is to control involuntary actions of the internal organs. So this is responsible for the involuntary actions of our body. So these are of two types, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system arise from the spinal cord between the neck and the west region. Neck and the west region, they are generating, okay, they are arising from it. And parasympathetic is located at the two places. What are the two places? One in the anteriorly of the head and the neck of the other posterior in the sacral region. One in the head and the other one is in the neck. Head and neck, and the second one is sacral region. Head and neck, and the other one in the sacral region. Sympathetic nervous system is stimulated by the hormone that is known as adrenaline, secreted by the adrenal glands located in the kidney. This is the location of the adrenal gland. Adrenal gland is located in the kidneys, and which hormone they are secreting? They are secreting the adrenaline hormone. What is the function of adrenaline hormone and when it is secreting? Adrenaline is a hormone, it is secreting in the state of emergency. Emergency means whenever we are feeling fear, we are in the angry mood or in the flight mode, means in the excited state of our body, the adrenaline is secreted from the adrenal gland of our kidneys, and it is secreting in the sympathetic nervous system, means in that way our body is coming in the active state. Now what is the function of parasympathetic sympathetic nervous system? Parasympathetic nervous system works to again to keep our body on the resting phase. Whenever we are angry, adrenaline secretes in our body. Then afterward what is happening? The parasympathetic nervous system works and it is responsible to cool our mind as well as our body. So it is the excited state and it is the normal state of the human being. It is responsible to keep the human normal again from the excited state, from the angry mode, from the fear mode. Okay, so by that way these systems work. So autonomic nervous system works. Next one we are going to discuss about the reflexes. Reflexes are involuntary actions. Involuntary actions means the actions that are involuntary actions are not in our control, and here is the one difference between that. Involuntary or reflex actions are of two types, voluntary and involuntary. Voluntary are performing consciously, and involuntary are performed by unconsciously. Now what is the difference between that? Involuntary, now I am speaking, okay, I am thinking and I am speaking. That means this action of my body or from my side, it's the voluntary action. I am thinking and I am speaking. I am showing some kind of gestures. I am using my hands too, and that are totally pre-planned. So this is the voluntary action, and it is also controlled by me. Next one is involuntary or unconsciously. What is happening whenever something happen with you? Means suppose that by mistaken you have touched the hot iron, then what is happening? Immediately you will keep your hand back. Then this action is your involuntary action, is happening unconsciously. As well as suppose that something accidentally enter in your eye, immediately you will blink your eye as well as you will close your eye. That happen unconsciously, unconscious state of mind. So this is the involuntary actions. As well as here a few actions they have given you, voluntary actions and involuntary actions. I already explained you about that. Next one we are going to discuss about the types of the reflexes. There are the two type of reflexes. Types of reflexes. Reflexes are of two type. First is natural and the second one is conditioned. Reflexes. First is natural and the second one is conditioned. Natural are also known as the inborn, and conditioned reflexes are known as the acquired or learned. Now inborn or other ones. Inborn means coughing, blinking of eyes, okay, sneezing. That are the natural reflexes that are coming naturally. So that are known as the natural reflexes. Next one, conditioned or acquired. The reflexes that you are getting or the manners that you are getting after your birth, that are not natural. Suppose that your teacher enter in your class, immediately the whole class will leave seats as well as they will stand. What is happening? Because your teacher entered and you stand to respect your teacher. So that is the conditioned reflex. Somebody entered, that is a condition. Your teacher is a condition here and you stood. So this is the conditioned reflex. The conditioned reflexes are acquired according to the situation. Okay, so that are known as the conditioned reflexes. One experiment they have given you here, Pavlov's experiment of a dog on a dog. Pavlov they have done one thing, but they have did. Firstly, one day they had given the food to the dog. What happened? After seeing the food, the saliva from the mouth of a dog came out. Means he was showing that he is hungry now and he was ready to have his meal. Its meal. Next day, what they did, they only ring the bell. Okay, dog didn't know anything why they ring the bell, so the dog didn't show anything. Afterward, third day, what they did, they ring the bell and they give the food to the dog. Then immediately again the saliva came from the mouth of the dog. Means the dog now came to know that with the bell they gave me food. Fourth day, what happened? They ring the bell only, but they didn't give the food to it. But immediately with the ring of a bell, means after listening the ring of a bell, the saliva from the mouth of a dog came out, because the dog was habitual that with the ring of the bell they will give me the food. So by that way the saliva came out. Now this is a conditioned reflex. How so? Because with the ring of a bell, the saliva from the dog's mouth came out. So this was the experiment they have given, that according to the condition we are becoming habitual of that thing and we are behaving. Okay, so that kind of reflexes are known as the conditioned reflexes. Now some common reflexes in the human, natural or conditioned reflexes. They have given you a few examples. You just go through from it, because that are the natural ones. In the natural ones they have given the blinking of the eyes, movement of the eyelids, sneezing, and the other ones. And in the conditions, when the teacher entered, the students stand up, as well as tie your shoelaces, playing on the musical instrument, like that they have given. You just go through from that. Next one we are going to discuss about the nervous pathway in the reflexes. How the nervous behave, or how the reflex action is entering in our brain, as well as we are getting the action to that. Firstly, a reflex action must be quick to have a value. Therefore, the pathway or receiving or sending the information must be short, because reflex action we are showing as an immediate response. So in that sense, the pathway is very short in that. In the simple reflex, impulses are not conducted up and down and the spinal cord, but leave the same level at which they enter. This may involve two neurons or the three neurons. It involves the two neurons. First is the sensory and the second one is motor, means dorsal and the ventral. Okay, from the dorsal sensory neuron is located in the dorsal root, and the ventral neuron, motor neuron, is located in the ventral part of the gray part of the spinal cord, and the fiber in the ventral root. That is the location of that. The impulse from the sensory, means from the sensory receptor through the sensory organ or fiber of the dorsal root of the spinal cord as it reaches to the motor neuron. From the sensory, it is reaching to the motor neuron, and from the motor neuron in the spinal cord, a response impulse is immediately generated, and afterward, like a reflection, the same way it is going back to the effector organ for reaction. In short, sensory nerves are taking that action, the input from the sense organ, and it is immediately giving to our brain, to our spinal cord, and afterward the motor neuron is getting that reflex back from the spinal cord and giving to the sensory organ to behave, to react. So by that way they are reacting. Next one, we are going to discuss about the reflex arc. Reflex arc is the shortest route that is taken by the impulse from the receptor to the effector. Okay, from the receptor to effector, from the brain to the effector organ. So that pathway, the short pathway, is known as the reflex arc. We are going to discuss about that reflex arc. Reflex arc. In the reflex arc, what is happening? First is the stimulus. Stimulus means condition. Okay. Next one is the receptor. Receptor means your organ of the body. Suppose that your skin part. Next, with the help of sensory neuron, it is going to the brain or the spinal cord for the other process. Brain or spinal cord. Okay. From the brain and the spinal cord, after processing with the help of motor neuron, we are getting the output back from the brain, and this output is going to the effector part for the response. So from the brain effector part shows the response to it. So this is the path, short pathway. Stimulus, the condition. You touched the hot pan. What is happening? Your skin touched means your skin is the receptor. Your sensory neuron that are present, neurons that are present in the skin part immediately will become in the activate state, and they will send that message to your brain or the spinal cord. Then immediately what will happen? Your brain or spinal cord with the help of motor neuron give the action back to your skin part to keep your hand back. Okay, means your effector organ, your skin part will get the message and you will show the response. You will immediately take your hand back. So by that way this whole works. This is known as a reflex arc. By that way you are getting the answer back from the brain as well as giving the message to the brain. Next is known as a complex reflex action. Complex reflex action involves the neurons at different level of the spinal cord. While walking in the dark road, if you happen to step on the coiled piece of rope, you suddenly jump aside with the fear of suspected snake. Virtually all skeletal muscles are involved in this reflex. Complex reflex action. Now what is happening? No doubt you are showing that a reflex action, but you are showing that reflex action in the fear. As they have given you the example that you are by accidentally you have your feet is on the rope, okay, and immediately you will feel that is the snake, and you will jump with the fear. So that is kind of reflex actions are known as a complex reflex actions. So you are showing that in the some kind of conditions as well as in the fear state too. So this was all about our chapter. We have discussed about the brain part, central mainly about the nervous system. Firstly, we have started with the structure of the nerve cells. Afterward, we have discussed about the brain part, the subparts of the brain. Next one, the central nervous system. Central nervous system. In the central nervous system, we have discussed about the brain and spinal cord. Next one, we have discussed about the peripheral nervous system as well as the reflex actions that our body is showing. So this was the whole topic. This was the whole chapter. Hope you understood. Thank you very much.